I'm just dropping these books left, right, and center, child. Like, it's just like it's a book dropping session, okay? I don't know what the hell's going on. Hi there, my name is Vuvu, and this is Vuvu Vena Reads. If you are new on here, please consider pressing the red subscribe button down below and joining the family. If you are returning a member of the tribe, welcome back, fam bam. Thank you for joining me once more. And if you're somebody who's been stopping by during VVR Veda, because we are doing this, please do press the red subscribe button down below and consider joining this family and ringing the bell while you're at it, you know, to stay attuned with what goes on this channel. But mainly it's going to be bookish stuff, in case you were wondering. But we still have to, we'd still love to have you as part of the tribe. So if you're interested in what I managed to read in April, finally I've caught up. Please do stay tuned.
So Vena_reads is an amazing book reviewer, also YouTuber. She reviews books on YouTube, and if I'm not mistaken, she also has a blog as well. So please, if for your connection with literature, get in touch with or follow at VUVUVENA_reads. She is based in South Africa, and I think it is also extremely important to follow literary content creators who are based outside of the West and in continental Africa, because they do a really good job of bridging the gap.
We appreciate you, Vuvu, for bringing us Turning Pages and for bringing us your BookTube channel.
You know, this is a chance for people to actually see some people that I really enjoy.
Please consider pressing the red subscribe button down below. And if you are returning, welcome back, fam.
Vuvu, you're amazing. Thank you so much for your time.
So, like I'm saying, I finally caught up with the world. Okay, I had been about 2 months behind with my wrap-ups. We all know the story. Technology failed me. My camera took forever to be fixed, blah blah blah, yada yada yada. We already know how that goes, but we are psyched. Sorry, I'm fidgety. We are psyched that finally this is where we find ourselves. So let's share what we managed to do in April. And I think that this is probably my biggest wrap up that I've had. I want to say it forever, but I'll say for throwing caution to the wind, that in a while. Okay, I managed to finish 11 books in April. And listen to me when I tell you guys that had it not been for the sprints that I ran with Bukamoso, Bookish Nontli, and Booked on Charity, if you're not on that, be on that, please. I don't know if I would have managed to finish as much as I did. So I see you girls. I see what we're doing to those TBRs, and I'm very psyched about that. So 11 books in 1 month. Like I'm saying, shall I say anymore? Let me just get right into it in no particular order, even though I do remember like the first 2 books that I picked up. I did read Tia Williams' 7 Days in June. This was much talked about in the year 2021, and I did feel all the FOMOs. I felt all the feels about this book, so I knew I had to pick it up, especially because I had introduced romance into the catalog of genres that I was interested in and that I would be picking up in the future. And I was like, I need more, and I absolutely need more black romance. Black romance is what I really needed, and I want to say that Tia did deliver. Here we follow, I want to get their names right, Eva as well as Shane, right? Eva Mercy and Shane Hall, who are both authors. The one is an erotica author, the other one is like a deep African author, let's call him that. Anyway, these two had a fling, a very hot flaming thing happen while they were still in school, about however many years that was, but it was also a 7-day affair in June while they were still teenagers. It was raunchy, child. There was all kinds of things happening, but these 2 people were very broken, right? It was a pair of broken teenagers who were trying to make head or tails of life, and they had been wrapped up in the wrong things. at the time, and there's a lot about absent parents, etc., that is really navigated in the story. Eva, we meet her as an adult, as a single parent who has tried to redefine her life so far as going to changing her name. And it seems like these people have been writing each other into their books, best-selling books, as a form of, you know, if you've watched Message in a Bottle, kind of like that, right? Trying to reach out, but not really, right, to the love of your life, putting little messages in your stories that only they can grasp, kind of thing. So eventually find their lives collide as adults in June once again, and they've got a week to figure out what it is that they're gonna do with themselves now that they have discovered or rediscovered each other. It is quite an interesting story, I don't want to lie. I think that the downside for me though was the fact that the trauma that was intertwined with these stories. Whenever I've read Caucasian love stories, there's very little trauma that's introduced in that. Yes, I'm not saying that there is absolutely no trauma, but it's very little compared to what I've come to find in romances that have black people in them. And for me, it's just like, child, just write a story where we are happy. Write us a story where it's make-believe, it's fiction. Write us a story where we don't have to have gone through so much before we find love, and even in love trying to discover so many things. Anyway, as you all know, I'll do a more in-depth review because there's much to the story that I haven't told right now. But this is one of the books that I read in April. 7 Days in June by T.L. Williams, much acclaimed, much talked about, especially on Book Talk, right? I do feel like there's not a lot of books that I can say Book Talk made me do it, but this is definitely one of them, child. Book Talk, if it weren't for you, I'm just saying, I probably wouldn't have picked this one up. I enjoyed it though, I don't want to lie. I read this solely off paper, meaning that I did not accompany it with an audio because the audio platforms that I am subscribed to do not have an audio version of this book. So it was really quite enjoyable. So I ended up rating this one at 3.8 stars out of 5. So that's that on that. The next book, because you guys know I'm fiddling and middling with the classics, and if you got anything to say, go and tell somebody else, because this is not the place. I'm picking up the classics and I'm trying to figure out what it is that some of you don't like, but so far I'm enjoying them, you know. And you know what, I bumped into, shout out to Sean Lunga, hey, bumped into Sean Lunga at Bargain Books Northgate the other day, and I was looking for a Sarah J Maas book, and he wasn't. So ciao, you read everything, you read everything. And it's true, I pride myself in my diversity. I will read all things that are there to read. I'm joking, not all things, child. Like there's some non-fiction that will never make the cut, but I definitely do read everything. So the classics I'm absolutely enjoying. I put that challenge to myself last year and it's been fun. I always like to recollect what it is that I've read so far since I've challenged myself. So I got myself I read the whole book, obviously. The Great Gatsby, Wuthering Heights. I can't rave enough about Wuthering Heights. I absolutely loved it. And perhaps it was because it was an introduction to a genre that I didn't know existed, but I loved the Gothic. Like, recommend, if you guys know more Gothic novels that you think might be up my alley, recommend, man, because I absolutely love that one. And I then read Pride and Prejudice. Yeah, was that the next one that I read? I think so. I don't think I'm forgetting anything. And now I'm gonna tell you about Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. Now, child, the first thing I'm gonna say to you about dear Charlotte, Sister Charlotte, ne? First, look at this fine print over here. Can you guys see what I'm talking about? Okay, this book is a whole of 458 pages long in that fine print, right? And luckily for me, I did accompany this one with audio. The only book that is a classic that I didn't accompany with audio was The Great Gatsby, I think. However, at some point I was like, Charlotte, child, Like, now you want us to know that Jane Eyre had a rash as a child. Like, what else do you want us to know about this person? We've heard it. Just get to the point. I did feel like that. I don't want to tell a lie. I felt like it was very long-winded, and at some point it needed to get to the point. However, I loved the innocence of the romance that was being told, right? And also, I think the thing that I love most about both Charlotte and Jane Austen is that the feminism keeps spilling out, right? These women are not conventional women in the societies that they are born into, in the times that they're born into. They're standing their own. They know who they are, whether or not they come from brokenness, whether or not they come from subpar situations in terms of how society would view them, or their families, or their backgrounds. They are standing their own, and the way in which both Charlotte and Jane portray their main protagonists, I'm like, I'm here for it. I'm here for you guys telling the story at this time about women. Never mind that it's Caucasian. For me, I'm like, I've forgotten about that. It's translating to me. I'm like, yes, tell the men, tell them, just speak to them. I don't know if they're reading the books though, because we the ones, but still talk to them. Yeah, tell them. Jane Eyre follows Jane, who is an orphan who has been given over to her closest relative that would have her to be raised, and even though she would not be part of high society, she will still be, it's kind of like a Cinderella story if you would have it. She would kind of be integrated into a better society than most orphans would be. She butts heads with her aunt because the relative that took her in was her uncle, who soon passed away as soon as she joined that family. So she butts heads with her cousins, with her aunt, who soon sends her off to a boarding school that only takes in orphans, right? So you can imagine what kind of place that is. But Jane becomes an ideal citizen in that place and decides, okay, you know what, my life is in my hands, there's nobody else who's out here caring for me, let me make the most of this. And then she becomes a teacher at that institution, and then she becomes a governess, where she meets what would be the love of her life, taking care of his adopted child. He's not the easiest man, this man, right? I want to say his name, but listen, I've forgotten his name. I don't want to lie to you guys. So this man is not really the easiest man that could ever exist. He plays some ploys, some tricks on her to kind of get her to understand that she is in fact in love with him. And then when crunch time comes, where the declaration and consummation of this love comes through, it turns out that this man has a skeleton in the closet or two. And Jane, out of heartbreak, disappointment, woe is me, flees to unknown lands, where she discovers so much more about herself than she would have discovered anywhere else. And then the tale unfolds, and eventually love does visit Jane, which made us very happy eventually. Okay, so that's me summarizing the story. I know that it was a great summary. You don't need to tell me, because I know that I brushed over a lot trying to tell you what happens here. But like I'm saying, the detail, Charlotte, child, girlfriend, you didn't have to tell us all that detail. Somebody needs to just you know, pat Charlotte in the shoulder and just let her know that it didn't have to be that deep. Anyway, because of the great detail that I was getting tedious of, I rated this one a 3.7. That's the only reason why. I absolutely want to be honest with you guys. It was a 3.7 because it was very long-winded and unnecessarily so. 3.7, but I absolutely had a job. I hope you guys are translating and understanding what I'm saying. Ciao. So that is book 2. I did say to you guys I read 11 books. So we picked up, we're still here. Those of you who know will know. The family definitely knows we're still here. So we picked up book 4 in the Chronicles of Narnia. We are not reading chronologically, child. I keep trying to explain this so that nobody gets confused. We are reading in the recommended order according to this collection, okay? And I see that some people have also read it according to this collection in terms of whatever the recommended order is. It isn't I repeat, it isn't the chronological order. So this one starts with The Magician's Nephew. I know that came way after The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. So this starts with The Magician's Nephew is book 1. Book 2 is The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Book 3 is The Horse and His Boy. That's where I got stuck last year, because I was like, I'm feeling it. I am not feeling it. So I decided, let me feel it. Let me feel it, child. It's being felt. And then last month, which was in March, I read Prince Caspian, and then in April I read The Voyage of the Dawn Treader, as well as The Silver Chair. Why am I saying I read 11 books? I read 12, child. As well as The Silver Chair. I am currently in the middle of The Last Battle, right? So I don't think that Narnia and C.S. Lewis need much saying, right? We all know that this is a book that is a kind of interpretation of the Bible, which C.S. Lewis wrote for his niece, and the main character in the first few books, I want to say her name is Lucy, is named after C.S. Lewis's niece for whom this story was written. We all know that C.S. Lewis was a proclaimed atheist until he wasn't. So his interpretation of the Bible speaks a lot to humanity and the human nature and what it is that really is of value in being human. So he's kept that thread going throughout his stories. Whether or not you are religious, whether or not you are Christian, there is something of value here for everybody who is trying to navigate life. Absolutely love the story of Aslan and how he shows up, and the lessons that he brings to the children, especially that he encounters, which is why it's a great interpretation of Christianity without really entrenching your child into religion. I'm not sure if I'm making sense, but absolutely this is one that I'm keeping in the shelves for Buyana. So I did Buyana. For those of you who are new, is what I call my kids. My son's name is Bukanye, my daughter's name is Ayana. So it's just like a, you know, combo of those what you call them, names. What am I saying? What you call them? So Voyage of the Dawn Treader ended up being a 4-star rating from me, and The Silver Chair was also a 4-star rating for me. I will give you a sneak peek into The Last Battle. I do feel like there's something that feels almost like a racial undertone for me. I have not gone onto the internet to figure out if anybody else has picked it up, but that thing is kind of disturbing my enjoyment of that last book. There is something there that I feel like he should have left out there, you know. But also I want to empathize with a Caucasian man during those times, right? And whatever his mind or thinking would have been. But at the same time, I'm like, you were doing so well, child. You were doing the things. Now I don't know why this part of the story had to creep in here. We were good. We were doing so well. But I do think that then it's going to affect the rest of my ratings. I want to say so far in the last 6 books, the only book that I actually gave a 5 out of 5, and it goes without saying, I suppose, because it's the most famous out of the series, is definitely The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. The Horse and His Boy did give me a little bit of a glitch, which is why I paused the series last year. But I'm glad to say that I think this month I am going to finish this here child and put her to bed. So that's that on that. I probably won't be giving full reviews on Chronicles, right? I don't think I'm going to. So that means that that's 4 books that I've shown you guys. I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page, okay, child? So I'm picking up another chunker, another one, a collection of 5 books that make up the Children of Dahara by Terry Goodkind. These are fantasy books by the late Terry Goodkind. I actually didn't know he was late until I was reading these stories, and I actually had never heard of him until I read the series. Okay, so this one here was sent to me by Jonathan Ball Publishers for review purposes. This is all 5 books in the Children of Dahara. The first book is called The Scribbly Man. The second book is called Hateful Things. The third book is called Wasteland. The fourth book is called The Witch's Oath, and the fifth book is called Into Darkness. So they're all packed in here. I did accompany the reading of these books with audio. And let me just tell you one good thing about Terry Goodkind Child is that he is a man who gets to the point. Absolutely love a storyteller that gets to the point. Okay, you do not find yourself wondering with Terry Goodkind. He gives you everything that he needs to give you, even his world building. I love how he did it, because he does it via dialogue, which I feel like I didn't know until I knew that this is my preferred style. Yes, tell me obviously that in this world there are no walls, if that's the case. Do you get what I'm trying to say? But don't tell me every single thing in descriptive adjectives and whatever. Let the people talk. You got people in this world, let them talk to each other and let them reveal the things that we need to see. And he did that splendidly. And also his first 4 books were like this. They felt like novellas, so the pace was up and all that kind of stuff. In the story we follow the Lord Rao, Richard Rao, and his wife, who is the, what is she? Oh, come on, tell me what she is. Mother Confessor. It's not here though. The Mother Confessor. So these are like the highly acclaimed leaders in the society, right? And they have just rescued their world from disaster. They may have made a few mistakes trying to do that, but they have rescued their world from disaster. Until now there is a threat or threats that have now come through since them rescuing this world, that now feels like we're safe, let's enjoy life is good once again. But we find that they've got now 3 enemies that they need to tackle since acquiring this world and changing the cosmos in order to keep this world what it should be. So throughout this 5-book journey, what we come to learn is who these enemies are and how the Lord Ra, who is a warrior with magic, as well as the Mother Confessor, team up with other gifted people in their land to try and make sure that Dahara is not a land that is forgotten or dies off after it has been rescued, you know. So it's an interesting journey, but I feel like there was such promise for an actual battle, you know, for an actual brouhaha. EP, where Terry, I feel like, you know what, you set me up like for a draw, and it didn't happen for me. Okay, I feel like out of all the books, book 5 was a major disappointment. New items or elements of the story were being introduced in book 5, which I felt like it was very disrespectful to me as a reader, because I've been on this journey with you. I've been on this journey with you. Now it's time for us to fight. Where is the battle that I was waiting for, that you built me up for? Where? So I was very disappointed in the last book. Otherwise, the rest of it, I remember that on Goodreads I even said I don't recall the last time I was hooked into a world like this. The characters are so dynamic and the promise of where the story is going is exciting. But did it go where I thought it was gonna go? No. Anyway, so according to the books, I just want to give you my ratings. Scribbly Man was 4 stars, Hateful Things was 4 stars, Wasteland was 3.7 stars, Witch's Oath was 3.8 stars, and then you got our Darling Into Darkness, that one was 3 stars. Okay, so I might give a full in-depth series review of this one. My hand is even aching from holding this up, of this one, so do stay tuned. I might being the operative word, otherwise it will probably go up on my IG for sure, like a review of sort. So that was 5 books in one, so that brings us to 9 books. The 10th book, well, 10, 11, 12 that I read in April was the Brown Sister trilogy. So the first book in the trilogy is Get a Life, Chloe Brown, which I absolutely love. Listen to me, if you're going to talk to me about romance, if you're going to talk to me about chemistry, fiction or reality, I need the quirk child, I need the back and forth child, I need the banter, you know, I need it obviously. And I think that from the onset I realized that Talia Hibbett is a girl that knows that a girl can't live on Panta alone. Okay, those you know will know. So Get a Life Chloe Brown follows the first sister out of the Brown sisters, Chloe, who happens to suffer from, okay, so this is the thing that Talia does. I want to say it up front so that I can then ease into the other ones, is that she gives each of the sisters some kind of quirk, if you want to call it that, and some kind of ailment. Yeah, so the sisters have a quirk and an ailment, and their partners also usually have something that they're battling with. So the ailment, when I say ailment, I don't just mean physical. In Chloe's case, it is a physical thing, but in the other sister's case, it's not necessarily physical. It could be emotional, mental health, what have you. It will be there. So her quirk per se is that she loves cats, okay, and then her illness is that she's got this her pain threshold is very, I want to say, is very low. I'm pretty sure she is a chronically ill, so she's got chronic pain, I want to say. I'm pretty sure she's explained what it is, right? And then she falls in love with a man who is a survivor of an abusive relationship. I need to sip my wine, child. Okay, I need to sip my wine. Is a survivor of an abusive relationship. Their lives collide in the manner in which they collide. I am definitely doing a series review of this one. And when they do, she meets Red, who is like perfect in every way, even in his flaws, you know. For her, like, let me just say up front, all of these men are perfect for the women that they with. Okay, but it's endearing enough for you to feel like, I feel hot and fuzzy and warm in all the right places when I'm reading their stories. But it is definitely perfection for the woman that they are with. So we basically follow the love story. I don't want to say much because, like I'm saying, I am definitely going to share a little bit more about these because I did like them, and there are moments where I really did not like them. So and I did share in one of my sprints that my biggest, it's either it was my channel or Charity's channel, that my biggest issue here is the fact that you get these plus size women who are being represented in a love story, maybe for the first time in a very long time or even ever, who are falling in love with Caucasian men. We need, just like I was saying there by Tia Williams, we need black women that look like this to fall in love with black men. We need it. On paper, it is fiction. You are making this thing up. Make it up for us. Let us believe that a black woman who looks like this can find the love of her life in a black man without trauma, without illness, without any complication. Okay, we just need to make that something that is a priority in romance. I know nothing about romance. I'm new to this genre, but please, the black romance authors, then like I'm begging you from the depth of my heart, as a plus size girl, don't do this. Don't do this. Don't do it. Black men find women like this attractive. Let us see it on paper, please. Please. That is all. Anyway, I loved both of these characters. This one is a sort of enemies to lovers kind of story, which is, I'm finding one of my favorite tropes in this genre, in the romance genre. I haven't yet come across a good friends to lovers, because I know that sometimes people say I liked enemies to lovers until friends to lovers happened, and then I was like, hey, I have not come across that as yet. Yeah, no, let me not lie, I think the second book is a friends to lovers type of situation, but it didn't give as the enemies. Anyway, let me not ramble. This was a 4.3 for me. Absolutely loved it. That is now book number 10. Book number 12 obviously then was the second book in the series, which is Take a Hint, Dani Brown. Dani Brown's thing is books. She absolutely loves books. She is actually a PhD literature student, which I found quite hard. I found that very hard. And she meddles with the whole understanding of the universe and the stars and the moon and the kind of things that I like, you know, like I'm sure she's a chakra han, you know. I like that. That was giving to me. Of all the sisters, I will tell you this, that she's definitely the one sister that I definitely identified with. I absolutely got her. I got the girl. However, Talia Hibbert, I feel like our girl shrunk. In book number 2, I feel like she shrunk herself so much that it was not giving. I loved Danika's story, and her love interest is Zafir, who it happens to be an Indian man. So when I say black, I mean of African descent. I always want to clarify this. I'm talking about black men of African descent. This woman deserves to fall in love with at least one black man of African descent, but that is me. Anyway, so I loved their story, don't get me wrong, and I think they are the example of friends to lovers, but this one was definitely weaker than Chloe and Red's story. I feel like the author shrunk herself. Maybe she felt very conscious when she had to do this book. I don't know what the story is, okay? I'm trying to figure it out and make excuses for her, but I wasn't really happy. And as much as Danica is definitely still the sister that my heart beats for, because I get her, like we are kindred souls, me and her, and I get even the things that she battles with. So for her, it's a matter of I want to say she has a serious case of imposter syndrome, whereas with her love interest, he's suffering from grief-induced trauma. And I get it. I absolutely, like, I feel like this could have been my favorite book, which is why I'm hopping on about it, but it didn't happen for me, and I don't like that it didn't happen for me. So I went into the third book very apprehensive, I don't want to lie. Anyway, I rated this one at 3.8 stars. So the last book in the series was Act Your Age, Eve Brown. As you can see, Eve falls in love with a Caucasian man, so we don't need to say much about that. So going into this book, I really didn't feel like it was going to deliver, because I felt very disappointed about the style of the storytelling in the second book. However, Talia, ciao, you came back from where you went. I don't know where it was, but thank you so very much. She delivered. I absolutely love Eve and Jacob's story, okay? I love the banter, I love the quirkiness, I love the feistiness, I love the mind play, man, that goes in here. And I love Eve's freedom with who she is, you know. And in this one, we discover that Eve's quirk is music, and then her thing that she's got is somewhat autistic symptoms, and her partner has autism. So they are on the autism spectrum. My battery's flashing, let me not say much. Absolutely love this one. We're going to talk a lot about this series later on in life. I rated it at 4.5 stars. It was my favorite book in the series. So Talia does deliver with the steam as well. I just don't want to leave that hanging, okay? She brings the steam. It's very steamy situations. Absolutely love that for her and for us as the readers. Anyway, let me not say anymore. Those are all the books that I read in the month of April. Thank you so very much for tuning in and choosing me once more. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, I love you very much for choosing me. Bye now.